Darren, welcome to the show.
Hey Rex, hey Chanell.
Hello, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like this is I've been waiting for this moment to be on the Real Estate Renovators.
You too kind. For very few hopefully that don't know you, tell us about you.
Well, I'm Darren Krakowiak. I'm the founder of CRE Success. We exist to help commercial real estate principals to be the best leaders that they can be, to grow their businesses faster and to have less stress in their lives. So most of my clients are the commercial real estate principals. They're the owners of independent boutique and franchised commercial real estate businesses around Australia. I also have a digital product and a membership for commercial real estate agents where we teach them the core skills of things like prospecting and their personal branding, time management, and turning listings into sales. That's there for any agents. We've got members from about 8 countries around the world.
Wow. There's a lot to take in with that. Let's unpack it. Let's go back to, if you can, about your story, because you didn't always live in Australia. You've had some high leadership roles. You've managed
CRE, JLL.
Managed over 300 people. How did you start? What's your career path been like?
So I just sort of fell into real estate. I did a Bachelor of Economics and a Bachelor of Commerce at university. My first job out of uni was with a group called Jeb Holland Damasi, which is now part of Urbis, which is a planning and valuations. They do a bit of tenant rep, and I was in the economics and property part of it. And it was all basically working for our clients who were shopping centre owners and retailers, and basically saying, if you refurbish or expand your centre, or if you open a new shop, how much turnover you're going to get based on the market share analysis. So that was sort of how I fell into real estate. After that, I worked for a couple of other firms, and I then landed at JLL. And after about a couple of years at JLL, I got the opportunity to go to South Korea. So that was really something that I wanted. That was the reason why I wanted to go and work at JLL, because of the global opportunities. And I ended up staying there for 11 years.
Wow. What was the transition like to go from Melbourne to
Korea.
South Korea?
I was 27 at the time, so it was pretty...
So recently.
Very good. It was pre-global financial crisis, right? So back then there were still things like expat packages. So they took pretty good care of you. And, I was young and I just thought it was great. Like I went over there for a little bit of a recon visit. They flew me over for just a week of partying, basically. Like, hey, come and live in Korea. It's awesome here. I'm like, yeah, it is pretty awesome. So the transition was pretty easy. Like I fell into some pretty good friends in the expat community there. The job was pretty easy. When the global financial crisis happened, that sort of changed things and my role changed, but that was actually unexpected. But that's when my career really started to take off, because I was given some additional responsibility that meant that I was, I guess, I was in research before and consulting, and then I started to transition into tenant representation first and then office leasing, so becoming more of an agent.
Yep.
So that was the inflection point, which then led to other opportunities.
Sales as well?
I didn't do sales, tenant representation and office leasing, and then country management.
Country management.
Mm.
Oh, sounds...
Drawing it back, Darren, I know we obviously are acutely aware, but for our wider audience, what are the key differences between commercial and residential real estate?
Okay, so commercial, when we talk about commercial, we're typically talking about 3 main sectors, which is office, industrial, and retail. There are some newer emerging sectors like the care sector, self-storage, data centers. Some people might put development sites in commercial, but typically it's everything except residential. And I think the difference is that it's a little bit more sophisticated. It's probably a lot of the same principles that apply in residential also apply in commercial, but it's less of an emotional investment, except if you're an owner-occupier, I guess. So probably owner-occupiers are thinking more like a person who's purchasing their own home, but most people that are purchasing commercial property are investors. And that just means that it requires, I think, some different skill sets, perhaps. It's probably more like if you're selling to an investor as a residential real estate agent, more of your clients are like that. They're looking at things like the yield. They're looking at things like comparable sales results. They're looking at things like the future use of the asset and, whether it's got the highest and best use. They're looking at more things than just, is this a place that
A lot more analytical.
Yeah, a lot more analytical based on the numbers.
So in terms of skill set, what sort of skill set would you need as opposed to a residential agent? What are the defining skills? Do you need a university degree?
No, there are plenty of people, I've got clients and plenty of people have been super successful, risen to the top of commercial real estate firms that haven't had any formal education. I think nowadays probably you'd be a little bit harder pressed to get a job in one of the bigger firms if you don't have a degree, but it hasn't been a prerequisite before. The only prerequisite is the same thing that exists in the residential sector, which is to have your relevant estate license, whether as a representative or as the actual agent's representative, and the agent principal. I can't think of it. Was it the license?
Officer
Agent's rep certificate.
No, Officer in Effective Control.
Thank you. Yes. So that would be what you require, and that's all you need, basically. Yeah.
So sorry, Rex, you're just leading on to this. So with residential, what you really need to understand is obviously your local marketplace, the demographic of people, the types of properties that are prominent in the particular area in which you're listing and selling. What do you really need to know in commercial?
Look, I think probably it's not so much about a patch. So most residential agents are covering a patch, and they might be working within a certain value range. In commercial real estate, it can be a little bit broader. I think still it's better to specialize, but you might, for example, specialize in Asian investors, or you might specialize in values between $1 and $5 million, but do a little bit in office and a little bit in industrial. I think it's still traditionally more likely that you'd be focusing on one of the asset classes and probably focusing on sales or leasing, although industrial tend to be both sales and leasing. So I think it's just a different type of specialization, and it's not always just based on the geography, which is more what people in residential real estate tend to focus on. The drive for an inspection might be a little bit longer if you're a commercial real estate agent a lot of the time.
Can I just, and I'll just be the last question about residential, we'll move on to your coaching and everything else that you do, but there's so much, like when it comes to commercial agents, there's not as many as residential agents. In every suburb you go, there's a patch and there's like 5+ residential agents. And them, in my opinion, they're missing out on a big opportunity for themselves, because if they added commercial to their portfolio of things they do, there's a wealth of opportunity for them that they don't do. And from a coach for commercial agencies, well, how would a residential agent convert to becoming adding that commercial agency into their agency?
Yeah, I would caution residential real estate agents from dabbling in commercial real estate, because it just requires there's a lot of, even though it's the same qualification, there are a lot of different regulations and legislation that you might need to be aware of. If you're a residential real estate agent and you're getting some good leads in commercial, my recommendation would be to find a good commercial agency that you can refer to, that you can get into a referral arrangement with, collect your 20% or whatever agreement you come up with, and just focus on your knitting in residential.
Not try to add it or learn it.
Well, I think you could choose to transition into commercial, but I think this is, unless you're in a small regional area where I think there are probably, it makes sense to do both because there's only so much work to do. But if you're in a major capital city market, resi-mercial, I don't think really works. Far better to specialize. The other thing I'd say is, in terms of differences, is whatever's happening in residential right now is probably a trend that we can expect to see in commercial maybe in 2 or 3 years' time. So commercial's a little bit more traditional, it's a little bit more staid, and probably, if you look at things like social media trends, they're probably faster moving and more quickly adopted in the residential real estate space than they are in the commercial space.
Interesting.
In the commercial space right now, what do we need to be aware of? Obviously, we're watching the news. We're seeing that commercial's taken a pretty big hit. I think we thought it would sort of slow down post-COVID, particularly in office spaces, CBD leases. What do we need to be aware of in the commercial market right now?
So a lot of things. That could be a whole topic of discussion in and of itself.
Yeah.
So look, interest rate movements are important. So we're obviously now in an expansionary cycle where interest rates are falling. That's likely to bring more confidence from buyers.
They didn't fall last time, unfortunately.
They didn't fall last month, maybe by the time of release.
Yeah, hopefully again, yes.
So, interest rate movements I think are important. There are more mum and dad investors buying commercial real estate than there has been in the past. When you look at the proliferation of commercial buyers agents that are opening up opportunities to, say, people purchasing in the sub $2 million category, that's giving investors, particularly a residential investor who's maybe got a couple of residential properties, they might decide, okay, I feel more confident now about buying real estate. Let's diversify a little bit and move into commercial. And I think that trend's likely to continue. And if you look to the United States, which again is probably a little more advanced in some of the trends, one of the things that goes on there is there's generally representation on both sides of the transaction for both leasing and in sales. And often, particularly in the leasing transactions, the tenant, the one who's holding the tenant, is compensated a lot more than the person who's representing the landlord. Whereas in Australia, typically it's landlord representation and the tenants or the buyers are generally doing their own thing, although buyers agents is obviously a growing and emerging segment.
Not so much I haven't heard so much in commercial, but it should be a big growing section because it's a lot more involved in commercial.
Most commercial buyers up until recently, I think, have been experienced buyers. So therefore they have that capability because they've bought and sold, and maybe their families have bought and sold, or they're institutional buyers which have in-house capability.
Yeah.
But I think now that there's more interest in purchasing commercial property for mum and dad investors, there's more of a need for these buyers agents.
Is that because of land taxes and all the rest? People sort of selling off their residential assets and looking to invest in commercial? This is a new trend?
But land tax is still on commercial as well.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. It could be if perhaps, like, you know, I own some residential property in Victoria, and I probably am looking now to buy a commercial property, but I probably wouldn't want to buy one in Victoria because I'm already at a pretty high threshold on land tax. So that might influence where I decide to buy, or maybe I put it in a different vehicle so I'm not attracting the same land tax through my personal name as through another vehicle. I think it's more about, sorry, I lost the question.
Oh, it's all right.
It's about land tax and
Land tax.
is it about land tax and why they're moving into from residential to commercial?
Commercial as an investment opportunity.
Yeah.
We can move on if you prefer.
I had it and I lost it.
That's all right. Happens to me all the time. What about, can I ask, Darren, what about the retail space? That's because that's taken a bit of a hit. What's happening in retail?
So I'm not an expert in the day-to-day of retail. My clients are. I've got a few clients that trade, buy and sell, and also lease real estate on behalf of their clients, retail. What I'd say is that probably in the CBD, we're starting to turn the corner a bit. I think probably some of that convenience retail that focuses on the office worker is still a little bit depressed. There's probably, my personal opinion, too many coffee shops. But if you look at the foot traffic in the CBD on the weekends, it's actually up a lot since post-COVID. So that means there's more destination type retail in the CBDs. At the same time, more people working from home means that there's probably more of a need for retail in the suburbs. And also there's a trend towards service or experiential type retail as opposed to you more sort of walk into a shop and purchase apparel or homewares, for example. So the type of retail is changing. I think retail is still a good asset class. There are some disadvantages from a actually land tax perspective because it's more difficult to pass on the land tax costs to a retail tenant because of the Retail Tenancy Act, and Rex can tell you all about that. So that was one reason why I probably wouldn't prefer retail, given some of the uncertainty around what governments look to do with land tax. But yeah, I think...
And compliance. There's a lot more compliance for retail than industrial or commercial.
Yeah, I think commercial is the one that used to be the ugly duckling, which now most people like because there's a lot of demand for it. It's pretty easy to manage and the tenant takes care of most of their things.
But I don't know, this is sort of sorry, Rex, might be somewhat outside your scope, but you walk down somewhere like Chapel Street that used to be a very bustling shopping district, and now you walk around and you just see for lease.
And someone chasing you with a machete.
Yeah, that's
or burnouts on the street.
That's true. It's become quite the area. But why is that? I mean, why would you have a commercial shop front and then not want to lease it out? Because I'm hearing that it's because the prices are too high. Is that correct? And again, I know this isn't where your business lies. This is purely out of curiosity.
I was at a lunch recently where there were a number of private owners of commercial real estate, and we were talking about Chapel Street. And there are a lot of owners on Chapel Street who just they're quite happy they want to preserve the price. And at the moment, there aren't people who are willing to lease at that price. So therefore they're not meeting the market. And so something's going to have to change, whether it's a change of use or a change in planning laws or those landlords deciding at some point, because of, one of the reasons why real estate transacts, it's death or it's divorce generally. So maybe something in the family circumstances will change, which will then cause the selling of that real estate, and then maybe the new investor will be a little bit more amenable to meeting the market.
So they prefer to stay untenanted.
Some do. Yeah.
Sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see how fast it can affect the vibrancy of an area. I'm sorry.
Let's move to coaching.
Different topic.
Let's move to coaching. What you predominantly do.
Yes.
Your coaching. Let's start. How did you get into coaching? Because it's it's not something everyone jumps into.
Yeah. When I came back to Australia in 2019, I saw that there were people who were doing coaching for residential real estate agents, but I noticed that there was no one doing it for commercial. And I kind of felt like that might have been an opportunity from a business perspective. And it was also the chance for me to provide some leadership to the industry. And after about a year of being back in Australia, my position was made redundant. So I had the logo sort of made in Canva. I had the domain name reserved. I had the company name registered. So all I needed was a company to tell, my employer to tell me to get lost. And then I was ready to go. So that was, it was an opportunity that I saw. It was a need in the marketplace, and I thought it was a gap that I could fill.
I think, and I've seen some of your coaching, I've had the pleasure of working for a number of your clients. What you provide in coaching is, in my opinion, proper coaching. It's not sales tactics alone, or can I touch on your coaching? I genuinely believe is very different to residential coaching and coaches out there. No offense to any of the coaches out there, because it's a proper business coach. It's a proper coach on all aspects of your client's business, not just one.
Yeah, well, thank you. One of my clients who does a lot of social media had me on his channel, and he said that he kind of sees me, he said, in the past, I've had a sales coach, I've had a mindset coach, and I've had a business coach, and you're a good combination of all three.
And you are.
So where I'm coming from more is, it's a leadership perspective, it's a strategic perspective, and it's from a place of knowing about the industry. So a lot of commercial real estate principals who are looking for coaching probably spend some of their time with their coach explaining about how the industry works, because their coach doesn't understand the ins and outs of commercial. So my clients don't need to educate me about how the market works, about how the industry operates, about what it's like to manage a team of agents and how it is to drive revenue in the business, because that's something that I've got experience in. So that means that I can quite often, I guess, identify the problem and help them work on a solution relatively quickly. Coaching is a modality where the real pure coaching is about asking questions which evoke awareness in the client. So I do that, but I also give advice. So if I can see what the problem is, I'm not going to dance around it for 30 minutes and ask you a bunch of different questions to see if
that comes from the experience.
I'll just tell you what it is, because I'm probably pretty action oriented, and I want to help people get the result quite quickly. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm coming from. It's industry expertise, a bit of leadership experience, and I guess more of a strategic approach, and looking at sort of like a holistic kind of coaching services, not just leadership or business or sales or mindset.
And I think most other coaches, even residential, don't do this. They just focus on one aspect of it, or to have courses for different aspects of it, but don't put it into one.
Look, I think other coaches are probably, they might have a particular expertise in one of those modalities that I mentioned. It could be around mindset, and mindset work is important. Like a lot of blockages that exist in people, a lot of the reasons why they can't get to where they want to go is about their beliefs. And sometimes there's some important work that needs to be done to overcome.
How do you work with that?
Do you have a success story?
Yeah, one of the common things is I'm better off doing it myself, right? And I would, why would I want to spend all this time to show someone else how to do it when I could just do it for 5 minutes and then it's done, and then I don't have to explain to someone how to do it. But you're going to be doing it forever for 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes and 5 minutes compound. And one of the identities that you need to adopt when you've decided to become a commercial real estate principal is become a better leader. And one of the important traits of a leader is being able to show people how to do things, to delegate, to let go of certain things, and to focus on, the things that are actually going to move the needle in your business, and to also help grow your staff. Because if someone doesn't know how to do something, there is some obligation on you to help them to do that, if that's within their job role, or if that's the position that you've crafted out in your organization. So a lot of the stuff is about encouraging them to hire people. And once they make that decision, and sometimes it takes some time to convince them, they're usually very happy and they're like, why didn't I do this before? And sometimes it's just about, I don't know, they need permission, or they need a push from somebody like me to help them explain, this is how we're going to do it. I'll support you with the execution. If it doesn't work out, like they might worry, if I hire someone for 100 grand, it's going to cost me 100 grand. No, it's not. It's going to cost you maybe $8,000 because within 2 weeks, you'll figure out that they're not the right person. You give them 2 weeks notice and then we'll start again.
Yeah.
It costs you some time, but it's not going to cost you $100,000. So get that idea out of your head. And so I just try to like position things, reframe things, give people perspective and give them, I guess, the tools that they need to make progress in the areas that they've said that they want to make progress in. So
Accountability as well then.
accountability, but tying it back to what they've said is important. So if they've come to me and they've said, right, I want to get to $3 million in revenue in my business, I'm like, well, that's not going to happen if you're doing X, Y, and Z. If you're spending 40% of your time on tasks that you could get someone else to do for $10 an hour. So you need to let go of those things, and then you need to start spending your time on the $500 an hour tasks so we can create more value and put that back into the business, and also to develop the people and to hire the people that are going to help you get that result.
Well, this comes down to one of your key philosophies, which is what you sort of teach in your practice, which is work smarter, not harder, right?
Right. Yep.
How do you enable agents or clients to do this? I mean, you've touched on a few here. Any other secrets to this?
So one thing that I talk about a bit is a function funnel, right? So what we want to do is, if you think about a funnel, you put things in the top and only certain things come out of the bottom. And one thing that I would suggest that you do is you put every task in the top there and you start with the tasks which are repetitive, which you're doing a lot of and which take a lot of time and you don't really enjoy doing. So the first thing to ask is, well, can I eliminate it? Like, if I stop doing this, is it going to have a material impact on my service levels or revenue? If it's not, just stop doing it, and then that's freed up some time. Next thing you need to ask is, can I automate it? So we were talking about a certain AI tool before the camera started rolling. These are things that didn't exist before. So you've got to educate yourself or be aware and be open to the fact that there is all these automation tools that are available that weren't available before. And actually you're doing your business and yourself and your family and your pocket a disservice by not accessing all of those tools that are available. So if you can't automate, you can't eliminate, well, the next question is, can I outsource it? So can I get someone external to the organization to do it for the same or a lower cost than I can do it, but to a higher standard? And, trust accounting might be an example of that. Like, I'm working with a client right now who I've identified that the cost of delivery in his property management business is way above the industry averages and what is typical with my other clients.
So it is benchmarking.
Oh, yeah. So we do a lot of different metrics that we're tracking in terms of a range of areas. So I've identified that that's an inefficiency in your business. Are you open to looking at outsourcing? What would it cost? And would that be a better way to deliver that particular solution? Like, taking photographs would be another one, right? Don't go around with your iPhone. You can pass that through to the tenant as part of the campaign, but get an external person to do that. You don't come in, if you're going to have a morning tea, we don't come in and bake the croissants at 4 a.m. We go to the shop and we buy them. That's outsourcing.
Yeah.
So after that, there's delegation. So is there someone else inside the organization who can do that, particularly if they're a lower cost to the business than you are? Delegate it to them and they'll start to get better at it, and then it's no longer on your plate. And the last thing is, if you can't eliminate, automate, outsource, or delegate, well, then you might have to do it. But if you're left doing that, you've probably got a bit more time and space to do more things because you've already gone through that function funnel and there's less on your plate. And also you've got, I think, the opportunity to look to improve the process and just to streamline it, get better at it, create steps, all of that. So that's just one of the sort of frameworks that I'd be encouraging my clients with.
Wow, powerful.
Well, it's really powerful. Are there other interesting frameworks that you have?
Well, I have to acknowledge that this next one I got from a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And one of a powerful exercise I recommend for some of my clients doing when they tell me, I don't have enough time, and this would be for agents as well. I don't have time to prospect. I don't have time to film a video and post it on Instagram or on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Well, have you actually audited your time? And Dan Martell calls it a time and energy audit. And I've done it with a number of my clients. We go through and every 30 minutes we write down what we did. Now, I know you might miss a few 30 minutes, but as much as possible, we want to try and reconstruct our day and see what we did every 30 minutes. Once we've got 2 weeks worth of data, we want to go back over that. And there's 2 things we're looking for. What is the value of the task to the business? And did I enjoy it or did I not enjoy it? Or did it give me energy or did it sap my energy? And anything that's low dollar productive, that's taking away your energy, that's the first thing that you should stop doing and decide, can I delegate that immediately? The stuff that you enjoy doing, you want to keep doing, because that's the stuff that lights you up. Even if it's not productive, that's more of an indulgence. The stuff that's highly productive for the business and you enjoy, that's within your zone of genius, what you enjoy doing, what the market pays you good money to do and what you're good at, keep doing that. And the stuff that is, you don't like doing but actually makes a lot of money, I think once the business gets to a certain point, then you can hire someone to replace you in that area. So another thing I try and get my clients to commit to is, right, what is the number that the business can get to that will say, at this point, it's now time to hire a person for that role. Because otherwise it just continues and they burn out, or they're not able to keep their commitments to their family or whatever it is.
But the burnout will be a lot less going by this model, because it's the draining stuff for the outsourcing or you're delegating. So you're going to be more alive and enjoy work more.
Yeah, but a lot of people in commercial real estate have an identity around, I'm the best person to do this. If I'm not busy, I'm not working hard enough. The amount to which I'm busy is an indicator of how successful or how important I am. All of this stuff.
I don't think it's just commercial.
Yeah, I think that's property in general. Isn't it?
Property in general, entrepreneurs, people who are ambitious. Look, I think in the early stages of your career, you need to hustle. And hustle beats talent if talent won't hustle.
Yeah.
But if you are 20, 25 years in and you're still hustling just as hard as you were in the first 5 years, then you're not doing something right.
You got 24 hours in a day. You can't be doing everything as you grow, as you
We've all got
scale.
the same amount of time, right?
Exactly.
Which means that if you don't have time to do the things that other people can do and achieve the same results, you're doing something wrong. So what is it that you're not doing in the right way, and how can we change that? And are you willing to make some changes which allow you to get to that result? It's usually about letting go. It's about deciding, okay, I'm going to stop doing that. It's not important. I can get someone else to do that, and recognizing that someone else doing it, they're not going to do it exactly the way that you do it. It's not going to be perfect, but you're not doing it. And that's a
it's
good
going to
thing.
take time to train them to do it. And sometimes I think, is it a situation where you have to take one step backwards to take two steps forward to train and spend that time, building the process and systems to be able to take that next step forward.
100%.
And making someone accountable and pointing out to you is, I think, what every business should have. And I feel like a lot of businesses go by, they've got personal trainers for working out at gyms, they've got everything else in the world, but they don't spend the time and energy getting a coach. And something.
Well, is there a powerful success story that you can share? Like, what's one of the most impactful clients, or that you've seen that's had the most impact?
All of his clients.
Well, I want to hear of one in particular.
I actually know a lot of you. We share a lot of clients.
So I don't want to name any of them.
No.
Well, I can talk about people that have given me a testimonial, right?
Yeah.
Because therefore they've given me permission. So Daniel O'Brien of X Commercial is one of my clients. I'm very proud to have him as a client because he's done some amazing work when it comes to the empire that he's building. I think he's up to 12 or 13 offices now, building a brand from scratch. And the other thing that he's done is that he's built an incredible personal brand in terms of the reach and the engagement and the authority that he now has in the market through his Instagram channel. So I'm very proud to count him as a client, and the results speak for themselves. Another client I've got is Tony Arminion, who Rex. And I was speaking to Tony the other day, and I've got to get his approval to actually give you the numbers, and maybe I'll do a LinkedIn post about it later. But the increase in his average annual revenue per property management client, astronomical, huge. And how do you increase your property management business? There's a few different levers that you can pull, and he's been pushing all of them really hard, and he's committed, and he's like a sponge, and he's a client who wants to get maximum value from me. And what I need to do now is to extract the result that he's gotten and to show other people the value that's been given. So that would be a couple of success stories that I could share.
There's a lot more that, again, we share a number of clients that get out and I hear all your clients love you.
Thank you, Rex.
Well, it's not me, it's them telling me about it because we share some clients.
Well, CRE Success is also about community. I know that that's a big part of your business. How has building a like-minded network elevated your business?
So
can I step back and just say, what can you elaborate how you built the community? What is the community?
Well, mainly through graft. So I built my business mainly through prospecting. So when I came back to Australia, I didn't have a lot of relationships that were long-standing in commercial real estate.
You've gone for 11 years.
I was gone for a long time. And also the people who I serve now, they're not with the firms that I work for. They're working with those independent boutique and franchised firms. So first thing I had to do was to go out there and generate leads, prospect them, and recruit them as clients. So now that that's happened, there is the opportunity for me to bring some of those clients together And so one thing that I've done is I started coaching some of my clients that had been, and you only qualify for this if you've been with me for 1 year. And if you are within a certain, I guess, revenue range. And if, I can say this, if I believe that you'll be a good person for the group, because I don't want to interrupt the ecosystem.
Yep.
But I coach some of my clients now in a group, and now that's a community in and of itself.
So you're creating communities.
Yeah, and that is, it's a couple of things. It creates some more leverage in my business because rather than doing one-on-one, I'm coaching a group of people at the same time, but the results that they're getting are even better when they're in the group because they're not only accountable to me, they're accountable to each other. They're not only hearing my insights, they're hearing each other's insights. They've been through the program with me. They've learnt my frameworks, my mechanisms. They've applied them. Maybe they've applied something that one of the other group members haven't. And that's the opportunity for them. We do things like where we go under the hood of certain businesses, and Tony's done it, and a number of my other clients have done it, where they say, hey, these are my numbers, this is some challenges that I'm facing. What do you guys think? Another thing I did is I had all of those clients that are in the group in Melbourne. It was May, and we had a half-day masterminding session where there was 2 main agenda items. One of them was, what's something great that's happened in my business? Once we heard all of them, we then identified one person to unpack how they achieved that result. And the next thing we did is talk about one problem in your business that you would like the group to help you solve. And everyone got 20 minutes allocated to solve that problem. And then we went to the footy in a corporate box and had some fun.
That's
Awesome.
So,
very holistic.
Yeah, it was, that's how you generate community, right? Through bringing like-minded people together, helping them solve
Generally,
problems
you're
and grow.
creating. This is your community effectively. And well done.
What's your vision for the next chapter?
So I feel like I've neglected a little bit my program, or not neglected the program, I've neglected the growth of the program for commercial real estate agents. So I've got a fantastic digital course, which is called Top Performer. It's got 6 modules which cover mindset and prospecting and personal branding and winning more listings, time management, and also what I call client accumulation, which is getting more repeat business referrals, that sort of thing. But I've been really focused on my commercial real estate principal clients, and I haven't done a lot when it comes to promoting that digital course, and there is a membership that exists within that as well. So that's the next thing I want to do. I want to sort of scale that up a bit because I've done the hard work of actually creating this digital product, and it is very leveraged because the main way to get the result from that product is to watch the videos, to do the accountability exercises that we send you after the videos, and to turn up for the monthly calls. We've got a monthly training session for commercial real estate agents. So
can I add some things? And sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Why just commercial? A lot of the principles on leadership, mindset, all of this is not just on commercial agents, on residential. Yes, some of the intricacies of how to operate is different, but have you thought about expanding? I know we've discussed this before.
On the Zoom,
and I want to discuss it on camera because I think I've seen it firsthand what you provide to your clients. I've heard it from your clients firsthand, and I've seen it. So what you hire is a holistic approach. You go in and you find out, even with Tony and others, that your management is too high, your trust accounting is too high. Like most coaches are telling, this is how you call people, this is your script and dialogue. You don't do that. You delve deep into someone's business. And I think, yes, commercial agents are doing phenomenal as a result of your coaching, but there's no one, and you say there's residential coaches. I don't know of any residential coaches that do what you do. I generally don't. And I feel like
it's a business audit almost, like a complete audit of the business.
In all aspects, from leadership
internal
to
to external.
benchmarking, they go to like 6 different people to get that course. And I think some of my residential clients are going to benefit from this so much. So it's probably selfish for their purpose, but they're good friends as well. So have you thought about expanding it to a residential?
not since you raised it with me the other day on the Zoom call before this interview.
And sorry to put you on camera like this.
Look, I haven't yet, and then probably I want to reach a certain threshold in my business before I start doing other things. So one of the things that I've learned is that specialization is important, and there's always going to be, I don't know if you guys follow Alex Hormozy, but he talks about the woman in the red dress, right, in The Matrix, and Neo's doing his training exercises, and there's this hot bird that walks past him, and it's distracting, right? So, I can't. That's sort of like all these other business ideas that people come to me with the greatest of respect, are shiny objects or distractions. And I feel like I've got some more things to do when it comes to, there's more things that I can do in commercial real estate that are going to help me hit my income goals. So I think I need to hit that certain threshold first. And then I think I might be able to transfer some of those frameworks, mechanisms, philosophies, beliefs, processes through to other sectors. It's funny you mentioned residential. I've probably more thought about like commercial mortgage brokers, right, as the next iteration of my business. Or is it just, expanding internationally with more intention? Because all of my private clients are all in Australia. We do have members in other countries, but there's a lot of expansion opportunities there. So I guess as I think about it, as I'm talking to you, Rex and Chanell, I think one thing is that the quality of the product might suffer a bit if I was looking for it to work for more people. I think the product that I offer works because it's focused on a particular person, which is that commercial real estate principle, or in the case of the membership in the digital course, it's for commercial real estate agents. Can other people glean value from what I've got to say? Yeah, of course. But when I'm delivering the coaching, when I'm delivering the training, I've got one person in mind, and that is, the commercial real estate agent or principal.
I think you got to have your niche. Master your niche.
And I love the
Potentially a
passion
book.
for it.
I know.
The passion is your commercial, no matter what. It's
Yeah,
like, you're not going to be a seller.
no.
Yeah, it's a.
Seller. I love it. I love it.
I love it.
No deal.
Exactly so.
For anyone thinking about entering the commercial space, before we wrap this up, Darren, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
So when I first launched CRE Success back in 2020, creating an ebook was one way to create a little funnel, right? So I thought, okay, I'll write an ebook. And I identified 5 principles that all started with the letter P as being, or 5 traits, I guess, that I would recommend that you should have, that should exist in order for you to be successful in commercial real estate. And when I was in, working for some of those big firms, sometimes people would ask me as well, what are the things that make you successful, or what are the traits that make you successful, as opposed to the activities or the tasks or whatever. So the 5 principles or the 5 traits are passion, persistence, positive thinking, preparation, and professionalism, right? So they're the 5 elements that I believe should be present. I always had the 4 that I listed after passion. I always knew it was persistence, positive thinking, preparation, and professionalism. The passion was the one that, because I'm not really passionate per se about real estate, I'm not I never want to be.
You're passionate about your
I got
clients.
passionate about what I do and helping
Yeah.
clients and leadership and helping people be the best version of themselves. It's just that the best way the easiest way for me to help people do that is through the experience that I've got in commercial real estate. So I've got passion for that. So, and I always had passion for what I did, whether it was just because I was competitive and I like to win, or passion as a leader, or passion in terms of ambition to make more money or to rise through the ranks in these different corporate environments. So my passion was there. It was just, I hadn't identified that was the thing that was giving me the drive to help me be successful. So I guess the answer to your question is, I'd be thinking about, do I have those 5 things? And if you don't have passion for real estate, if you don't have passion, if someone's watching this, it's not in real estate, you don't need to have passion for what you do. You just need to have, you need to be able to get some passion from what you do, or have passion about a certain aspect of it. One thing that this guy told me one time, this is a little bit, it's not too crass, so I can say it. He was very good with meeting women, right? And I said to him, Duncan, how do you do it? Like, he was not the best looking
Shout
guy.
out to Duncan.
And he said to me, well, what I just find something about them I like, and I focus on that, right? So what a great insight. You need to find what it is that you like about what you do and focus on that. And that is where the passion will come from. So that is why passion is important. And there's a bit of online chatter about, do you need passion about what you do? And, should you just focus on making money? I think, you can, as long as you can find something to be passionate about within what you do, then that'll be the thing that makes going to work or getting out of bed every day not a chore. And
So why, isn't it? If you don't have that passion, it's hard to get up on those hard days. But if it's your driving force, your passion, then it's so easy to go through anything because you want to.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of people.
That niggling sound in the back of your head that gets you up in the morning. There's always something. It could be money, it could be people, it could be the environment, it could be the culture, it could be anything. You just got to find that one thing, right?
I mean, people say money, and that's, we're all we're in this industry, a lot of people to make money, but there's always a reason why, right? It could be significance, it could be for their family, it could be to do good in the world, it could be for whatever, to be top of the scoreboard. So what is the reason why you want this thing? That's the passion. Okay, well, that's what we're going after.
Should never be money because, you can make, there's only so many cars, boats, houses you can have.
That's the guy with the G-Wagon.
And the GT.
Darren, thank you so much. This has been amazing. We'll leave all the details of your business in the links below. And who knows what's next to come.
I'm thinking a book.
I think if it's any commercial agents, and I generally mean it, and you're a principal, and even if you're not a principal, and if you don't have a coach, reach out to Darren because he'll probably change how you do your business. I generally mean that. I've seen it all from all your clients.
Thank you.
Not all your clients, but some of your clients.
Well, thank you so much, Darren. We really appreciate your time, and we will see you on the next episode of Real Estate Renovators. Bye.